What a dominating performance from the New York Knicks. Tonight, we watched the New York Knicks close out the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, round one, winning 4-1. We're going to talk about this series because I'm blown away from what I saw from the New York Knicks, and you have to feel so encouraged, especially because of what's happening with their competition in the Miami Heat versus Milwaukee Bucks series. That game's actually about to start here in a couple minutes, but with Tyler Hero hurt and the Heat up 3-1, the New York Knicks are very, very alive in this year's playoffs, and I can't wait to watch what happens going forward. But we're going to talk about this series that we just got done watching because the New York Knicks impressed me like crazy, and I owe an apology to the New York Knicks front office. I was a little critical of the way that they were building this roster. It felt like they had kind of rushed some things. We're giving some big contracts to some guys that I wasn't really sure deserved those contracts. But holy smokes, this team is really good. It's really physical, and they play good on both sides of the basketball. And there's so much to look at, and they just dominated the Cleveland Cavaliers in this series. We're going to talk about a couple guys that really stood out to me, being Mitchell Robinson, Jalen Brunson were the two guys that were insane. The Knicks closing this out tonight was huge because Julius Randle rolled his ankle in this game. We'll see, what the prognosis is on that. I don't know if they announced it during the game. I usually listen with the sound off, or I usually watch with the sound off. But all in all, just a dominating performance from the New York Knicks. And I'm pumped to watch them in round two against either the Heat or the Bucks. But you have to feel like you have a great chance as a New York Knicks fan in either of those series. We're also going to close this video talking a little bit about the Cleveland Cavaliers and where they go from here. They had a great regular season and really got dominated in the playoffs, and it exposed some major weaknesses in the Cavaliers scheme. So we're going to talk about that as well. Before we get into the game, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're up over 1,200 subscribers. We're talking a ton of hoops, covering a lot of teams in the NBA, so make sure you subscribe. It's been a ton of fun. Love interacting with y'all and appreciate all the support. So the Knicks won tonight 106-95. Jalen Brunson had 23 points. RJ Barrett had 21 points. Mitchell Robinson had 13 points, 18 rebounds, 11 offensive boards. Julius Randle only played 16 minutes, but he had 13 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds in that time. He was very good when he played. Obi Toppin came in the beginning of the third quarter, had an incredible stretch. That's what they've been waiting for from Obi Toppin. Had 12 points in 22 minutes, so it provided a valuable spark for the New York Knicks. And then Emmanuel quickly off the bench had 19 points. Quickly on the Cavs side, Donovan Mitchell had 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Karis LeVert had 17 points. He started the game really hot. Darius Garland had 21 points. And the story, I think, of the series, Jarrett Allen had 4 points, 4 rebounds, and Evan Mobley had 6 points, 9 rebounds. They got dominated in that part of the game. I think particularly what was so impressive about the New York Knicks was, one, their physicality, including their rebounding and paint presence, and two, their coaching. Tom Thibodeau, I think, did an exceptional job in this series. They said that this season, the New York Knicks only ran 13% of their pick and roll plays when Jalen Brunson was dribbling the basketball. Only 13% of those plays did a guard or wing set a screen for Jalen Brunson. In this series, it was over 50% of the time the guard or the wing was setting a screen. Tom Thibodeau switched up his entire game plan and exposed a weakness that the Cavs could do nothing about. Having either one of their guards or, RJ Barrett, one of their wing players, setting a screen for Jalen Brunson, and it exposed so many weaknesses. When you look at this series, what stood out immediately from the jump, game one, they dominated on the glass, and that was no different tonight. They won the rebounding battle tonight 48-30. The Knicks won the rebounding battle in 4 out of the 5 games. Ironically, they won all 4 of those games. They dominated in 3 of those games. One of them was kind of close, but the other 3 games just blew them out of the water on the boards. At the end of this game, every time the Cavs tried to make a run, if the Knicks missed a shot, they got the offensive board. They won the offensive rebounding battle 17-4. They shot a lower percentage from 2. They shot a lower percentage from 3 tonight. Yet they still won this game by 11 points because they dominated on the glass. And that started with Mitchell Robinson, who I think this was his coming out party. When you look at this Knicks team, and if you're someone who hasn't watched them a lot this year, The way that Mitchell Robinson played and dominated against a team that is very good defensively in the Cleveland Cavaliers, a team that it plays with two big men, essentially, with Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Mitchell Robinson was the best big man on the floor by a mile. I'd rather have Mitchell Robinson than Rudy Gobert. A quick little shot at Rudy Gobert just for the heck of it. But Mitchell Robinson was exceptional. He dominated, and he's going to be so important in the next round of the playoffs, whether going against a very physical Bucks or physical Miami Heat team, whoever pull out that series. Obviously, we want to see Julius Randle healthy, and that's going to be one of the things to watch. But if the Bucks win tonight and the series extends to another game, that's going to give Randle more time to rest up and get ready for the next series. The New York Knicks added this offseason Jalen Brunson and finally started to build a roster. For years, we saw the New York Knicks be a team that focused on, can we make the splash move? Can we add LeBron James? Can we add Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant? Can we win the lottery and get Zion Williamson? All these years, the Knicks were focused on making some of these big splash moves. At least a lot of the media was saying that that's what they were focused on, or that was a lot of the reports. This year, they said, let's go add Jalen Brunson, who was dominant in the playoffs last year for the Dallas Mavericks. Let's get him on a very team-friendly deal, and let's create a really good basketball team that now is in a position can make an actual run for the playoffs. When you look at the Eastern Conference and the way that this is shaping out, if the Heat advance and Tyler Hero's out, the Knicks are the favorites in that series for sure. Now, with what Jimmy Butler's able to do, you're still in for potentially a heck of a series there, but the Knicks would be the favorites. You look at the other side of the bracket, the other side of the Eastern Conference bracket, the Philadelphia 76ers, both Joel Embiid and James Harden are hurt. The Celtics are struggling with the Atlanta Hawks. The New York Knicks play great against the Celtics. Are they not absolutely alive in the Eastern Conference to make a run at this thing? And then the Eastern Conference has been better than the West all year. The Knicks are alive. The Knicks are alive in the playoffs, and I'm baffled by what I saw in this series. I was wrong. I thought that this series would go 7 games. I thought it would go, be a long series where at times you thought it went back and forth. At times you thought the Cavs looked better. At times you thought the Knicks looked better. I didn't think for a second the Cavs looked better in this series. They won one game 107-90, but other than that, the Cavs didn't hit 100 points a single other game. For the series, the Cavaliers averaged 94 points a game. Before tonight, which they scored 95, so it'd be 94 point something points per game for the Cavs this series. They absolutely shut down Donovan Mitchell, and then Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen were just got dominated in this series. And we'll talk about the Cavs here in a second, but I want to focus on the Knicks for a little bit here. RJ Barrett, to me, was the key to the New York Knicks taking a step forward. And in game 1, he struggled. And all in all, he started to get his stuff together and averaged 18, 19 a game. We'll see what this game brought his averages up to in this series. And if he's playing at that level, and you have Jalen Brunson playing the way that we know he's going to in the playoffs, and Julius Randle doing his thing, Josh Hart, Mitchell Robinson dominating, if you can get some bench production from Obi Toppin, from Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, whoever else they play, this Knicks team is deep. It is so deep, and Jalen Brunson is just built for the playoffs. There's a great quote, and I think actually it is the only thing that I've ever agreed with Draymond Green on, but there are 82 game players and there are 16 game players, meaning that there are players that are built for the regular season and thrive there, and then there's guys like Jimmy Butler and Jalen Brunson who are good in the regular season, but when they get in the playoffs, look like they're a top player in the NBA. And that's what we saw from Jalen Brunson in this series. That's what we saw from the New York Knicks in this series. I think they were 3rd in offensive rating in the regular season, and their defense was what impressed me most in this series. Rebounding, they're a very good rebounding team. I think they were 5th in the regular season. So all in all, the Knicks, highly, highly impressive. You got to feel pumped as a Knicks fan heading in to round 2. You kind of would want the Bucks, I think, to win tonight. That game just started, but you kind of want the Bucks to win tonight, and then Miami probably to close out this series in Game 6, just to give Julius Randle a little bit more time to rest. I want to touch briefly on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They obviously made a massive trade for Donovan Mitchell, giving up Lauri Markkanen and some picks, Colin Sexton. And Mitchell was very good in the regular season. He's going to be first team All-NBA, but he got dominated in this series. Now that's 2 years in a row that you could argue Jalen Brunson has played better than him in the playoffs. So when you're looking at this Cavs team going forward, obviously the development of Evan Mobley, of Darius Garland is going to be significant. Evan Mobley needs to put on some weight. He needs to put on some strength so that he's able to compete. There were videos of Julius Randle just pushing him around. Mitchell Robinson looked like he was way bigger than both Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, just played bigger, played stronger, played more aggressive. If the Cavs are going to take that next step, Evan Mobley is going to have to work on his jump shot a little bit, get a little stronger. That he's going to be a huge piece for this offseason. And they got to add a legitimate three. They struggled all series trying Isaac Okoro, trying Danny Green, trying, Karis LeVert. They just kept rotating guys in that three spot, and they did not have an answer. You may want to try to move off of Karis LeVert, but if you could, I don't know how realistic it is, but a guy like OG Anunoby, I think, would make this Cavs team a real contender. But that's kind of like the caliber of player that they need in order to take that next step. And all in all, the Cavs don't have many trade assets, so a lot of what you see now is what you're going to get. And, it led you to the 4 seed, but you weren't even close in this series. Not even, the games weren't that close. You couldn't score. It looked like if Mitchell wasn't making a play, then there was not a lot going on. Garland had a couple good games, but your big men got dominated. Your wings were terrible. And really even your guards got beat by Jalen Brunson. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have to really evaluate where they're going from here and what their potential is with this current roster. Are they going to have to make a big splash? Can you play with 2 big men, I think, is the big question. The only teams in the league that are really playing with 2 big men, there's 2 7-footers, are the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I don't think it looked good for either team. So we'll see what the Cavs do going forward. All in all, Knicks looked unbelievable. Round 2 will be super interesting, whether they play Miami or Milwaukee. Hope Julius Randle's all right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Cyborg out.